Greetings, everybody. And as I say to everybody, we always have a special guest. And I like to find the jewels, like a diamonds in the rough in our industry, people that I find in my network. And in front of me, I have a Melahni Ake, and she is the CEO of a Make Connection for Life. She's DBA, Everyday Leaders Leadership Development and Consulting Company. And for over 20 years, Melahni was an executive leader in the medical device industry who achieved success through prioritizing her career first, which allowed her endless opportunity for professional growth. Melahni, welcome.
Thank you so much, Alona. I love being on your show. I appreciate the opportunity to share with all of your guests and your listeners and everyone that joins us.
And I cannot wait to share your story, to share your passion, what you do, because in this world, to be honest with you, we're consumed with negativity. We are so drawn and attractive to the negative news and bad news that, puts us down. And I want to find the people who will spark, rekindle the hope with our viewers, with this world. And you are one of them, Melahni. First of all, tell us, what state are you calling us from?
Yep, I am in the United States in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Oh my gosh, I used to live there like years ago.
You did?
I yes, in like I was closer to the Terre Haute.
Yes.
So Indianapolis was part of the place where I would usually go. That was our headquarters for my company, and it was so excited to travel there. So here you go, Hoosiers.
We make connections for life. That's why that's
You
my company
never
name,
know.
right?
That's true.
That's awesome.
But Melahni, you are, developing everyday leaders. It's not easy. It's like actually challenging to develop the leaders. Please tell us, why have you chosen this trade, this profession, this mission of yours to develop leaders?
I think it starts with trying to understand yourself. And so when you read my bio, I think about it was about being in a professional growth, just momentum, right? You get into a career and you are succeeding professionally. But what I had forgotten about was my personal growth.
Mm.
And that was a defining moment for me when I realized people around me were asking about what value do you bring to the organization? And what are you doing to grow? And how are you achieving? And that's when I really stepped back and I said, I need to start developing myself. And through that, I started to recognize the signs of, wow, my values, my beliefs, what was I going to do to prove that I was really growing? And so this was to
Mm.
myself. And so I became a leadership coach back in 2016 and 2017. And it was right at the pivotal time where I was in an organization that was challenging me to really push the limits and all the things that we were creating. And so it just helped me to fuel my passion and my fire for like, wow, I opened new doors that I had really never tapped into for a very long time. And so through this, it was my beliefs started to change. I started to get really clear. I created consistent patterns so that I could then have the courage, right, to get the clarity that I needed. And amazing things have happened in my life since I decided to invest in my own personal growth.
This is just very beautiful story that you have shared, and you shared your why is very important into our lives. Without why, we will not be able to like achieve how, right? First we have to need that in our lives to do that. But let me ask you this. I know this world, when they hear the word leadership, they get a little bit frightening.
Mhm.
So please tell us what a word leader, means to you, and how can you describe what the leader is?
I think every one of us is a leader. I think it comes down to choices. And I think every single day you make choices whether you're going to be influenced by things that will impact your life in a positive way or a negative way. And either way is a leader, right? Either way, either choice
Mhm.
is leading your life. And so what you do, who you surround yourself with is critical to your success. And if you can decide, if you can have the discernment every single day to try to be consistent in your choices and impact in a positive way, that creates the momentum for sustainability. And so in my challenge for my team, the people that I work with, I'm always saying, if you want to do something, you have to do it every day, not just once in a while, not when it feels good, not when you want to journal about it, but you've got to consistently create a process every single day to be accountable, whether that's a partner, an accountability partner, whatever that looks like for you in your life. For me, it was starting a challenge from my mentor. And Ilona, this was so great because back in September of 2016, my mentor, Dr. John Maxwell, he challenged everyone on his daily Minute with Maxwell. And he said, if you want to grow in wisdom, if you want to grow in your personal development, read the book of Proverbs for 31 days. And so I thought, gosh, I am really curious about this because I've never taken on a challenge like that. But my mentor said, you should do it. So I got online and I reached out to my tribe of friends and I said, hey, do you want to do this with me? And so a lot of them did. And so on October the 1st of 2019, we started the Morning Everyday Leaders devotionals. And it was really inspired by John's leadership book. So he has a leadership Bible. And so it was a really great way to kind of say, well, let's dig in, right? Let's all dig in and learn this. And so we did for 31 days from October 1st to the 31st in 2019, every morning, 7:30 a.m. for 31 days. Now, when we were finished with Proverbs, guess what happened?
COVID.
Well, COVID happened, but we also said, we got to keep going. So we did Corinthians, and then we went on to Luke, and then we did Psalms, and then we kept going and going and going. Now COVID happens. I have my second leadership event. We're continuing to do our Bible devotional. And this morning was 642 days that we've been consistent. 642 days. I mean, it's unreal to think that I don't even take a shower every day through COVID, right? But I did something that filled my cup because it gave me that consistency and that clarity. And so everything in my life has gotten really, really clear and defined. And it's all because I've taken this one action step every day. So my brand, I'm really speaking and living my brand of everyday leaders are consistent every single day to have clarity in their life.
It's just a phenomenal, the way that you put it together, such a beautiful way of, sharing with people. Yes, we have to eat before we can feed somebody else. And before we, can teach somebody else, we have to fill our cup. If our cup is empty, how can we, help somebody else? We become bankrupt in spirit, in our emotions, so we get drained, because we do not take care of ourselves. And self-care, some people, believe that it's a selfish, but no, we encourage people, no, you have to really take care of yourself spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically as well, to make sure that you will be able to be strong enough to help others. But Melahni, let me ask you this. Just imagine you have this opportunity to meet the man or woman of influence or leadership from the past and from the present. Who would you want to meet and why? And what question would you want to ask her or him?
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, I would love to sit down with my great-grandfather because he was a pioneer. He established in Indianapolis the very first evangelistic center, nursing home, school, clinic, and tabernacle. And it was established here so that he would bring in ministers so that they could witness and testimony and create community. And so it's funny because I didn't understand this until I started researching that at that tabernacle, when I was just a baby, Dr. Melvin Maxwell, John's father, preached with my great-grandfather.
Wow.
And I was so young when all this was happening, but I would love to sit down and understand, at a time when things seemed, after the Depression and World War II, all these things were happening in America. And
Mm.
yet he had the fortitude from Pilgrim's Holiness Church to come to Indiana from Portsmouth, Ohio, and develop and buy this land and have this dream and build all of this community. And so I just, it's in my blood, right? The DNA of what we believe about ourselves. It started really young. And I think everything that I've done has built the confidence to know that faith is really the core of who I am and that I can see things clearly because I have that faith. And so every decision, every community that I try to build that I'm involved with is really about impacting positive community. So that's who I would want to sit down with and just ask him all those questions. How did you get it done? Who helped you build it? What was your vision when you started? What were your fears, right? I would want to know all of those things.
Like the person who had such a vision, who was so bold and courageous, right, to get to there and, to see his fruit to be done right now. And you are beneficiary, we all are of what he had planted back then. It's just magnificent, just absolutely amazing. And that's why I am looking, like, for people who are hungry enough to get to their vision, who do not worry or do not care about how they get to their vision, to their dreams, but they're hungry enough just to get there. They have their whys. And, just for this connection that you have had and your great, grandparents, grandfather has established, meeting the dad, right, of John Maxwell is just phenomenal. And now look at you. You are trying, being, the mentoree of the John Maxwell himself. And he's the amazing man of impact and influence for any leadership. I usually read his books, not on a daily basis, but as a guide, to develop myself. He's very effective the way he speaks. He doesn't use any theological or any heavy words. He's very practical. And that's why I get connected with him, because he's real. He's using the everyday language to build leadership, to build the future leaders out there and to encourage all of us. So, Melahni, so what is it up for you? What's your dream? So what's next for Melahni?
Oh my gosh, I have so many plans. It's so exciting. Before COVID, we decided that we were going to take our show on the road because we wanted to go impact other communities. And so Indianapolis and stretching kind of through the Midwest, but we purchased an Airstream. So an Airstream trailer, right? So it's a 22-foot Airstream. We've converted it into a mobile studio.
Mm.
So my dream is to continue the everyday leaders professional coaching and consulting, but really stretch this out into what it is becoming is the Everyday Leaders Network. And to celebrate people that are doing amazing things in their own communities and to really go out, catch them in the act of doing great things and being able to celebrate them at events, having think tanks for corporations, and really to invest back into these communities. And again, like you said, it's really difficult right now to find people that are really, truly, authentically adding value. And so they're there, right? But when we celebrate each other, we lift and we rise all tides together. And so I think it's so important. And it's been just on my heart, right? My grandparents, my great grandparents developed the tabernacle, but my grandparents were song evangelists. And so I used to travel with them to all their meetings around the country during the summer. And so what I feel is this is in my blood, right? It's my spirit to go out and get people's stories and inspire them and help them be and stay motivated. And so it makes sense, right? It's just part of who I am. So I'm really excited to kind of take our mobile studio on the road to be able to celebrate people everywhere.
There's a quote out there that, I use, once in a while. It says, be a light. If you cannot be a light, be a mirror that reflects that light. So I know that there's people out there, if they cannot be a light, they can be a mirror. They can always reflect that light in this world, because this world does need that. And you are doing it. You're helping us all to be either good light or be a great mirror that can reflect that and be an impact of this world. Melahni, before we close, uh, and I want to ask you, there's lots of people will be like listening to this, and there will be opportunity for them to also to maybe rekindle. What message would you want to tell to this future leader or the struggling leader right now that you will, want to impact, influence, and empower?
It starts with you. It's so much about building your confidence. There's so many people in the world, there's so much noise in the world that takes that away from you. But really, it's your freedom to choose every single day whether you want to impact your life in a positive way. So whatever that looks like, if you need to get a coach, an accountability partner, I recommend picking up Proverbs and study that for 31 days as a challenge and see how that can really, the wisdom of that book can change your life. And if you'd like to join us, we do it every day at 7:30 a.m. and you can get the link at everydayleaders.com.
This is just empowering, like you have given us very good tool, like a good call to action, to start with the Proverbs. And Proverbs is like, it's not like, theological book. It's an everyday book of wisdom, how we should live our lives. It's like a guidance, like our, roadmap, that how we can, empower ourselves on a daily basis. So I really thank you for doing it for us. And I would be more than happy to share your information on the feed. So if you guys are listening to us, please check the description box, and please contact Melahni if you have any questions, if you want to be inspired or empowered or be part of her, everyday leadership, steps and actions as well. You want to have a great positive person by your side to guide you through. So Melahni is the best one and a really great one to encourage you. Melahni, I really thank you on behalf of our viewers, on behalf of our IP resilience community and a family, for being with us today, for taking us through to how to get into from the vision to the actions, and how to build ourselves up if we fall back, or we have some issues, some kind of problems in front of us, all these barriers. So you are instrument into this world. Your impact will gonna go very, very far. Don't stop planting. Do not stop, doing it for us, because you will reap, if not you, your children, your grandchildren, just let it happen, will reap the benefit for what you have. You will be doing it today with all of us. Can you imagine that impact? So thank you so much, Melahni. Do you have any final thoughts for our viewers, so we'll be able to say goodbye to them?
Oh my goodness. I want you to remember that leadership really starts with you, and it is about influence. And so my mentor always says, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. So make sure you're making a positive influence in the world.
With this note, guys, we're going to, say goodbye to you. That was Melahni Ake with us. Please check her out and please stay tuned for our next episode. Until then, we want you to stay blessed and we want you to be happy. Bye, everybody.
Bye.